makes me happy? Happiness can mean something different to everyone and mean something different to one person at different times. You may experience happiness when riding on a roller coaster, yet someone else may feel only terrified. You may one day be happy with that brand new sports car, maybe a Mazda, yet some years later, you see happiness morph into a minivan. Happiness seems to come in many different ways, but then again, maybe it actually doesn't. She's taking this speech from her pathways, and what she is to do is to give this speech, listen and watch very carefully for the feedback she will be getting, and then she will use her feedback from you for her second speech. So that's the project she'll be working on. Let's welcome Larin, and the speech is 5 to 7 minutes. What makes me happy?
So yes, what makes me happy? Before I get to that, I want you all to think about that question. What makes you happy? If you think about something and it comes up while I'm saying my talk, please write it down. But think about that question during my speech. Perhaps I can make you happy this morning. Maybe a little treat will make you happy this morning. And I didn't realize that there would be so many ambitious people here, so I might actually run out of treats. But save your treats. Don't eat them yet. And don't tell my child where her Halloween candy went. So I think there's 3 kinds of happiness. Head happy, heart happy, and soul happy. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about all 3 of those kinds of happiness. I'll start with head happiness. And I'll go back to, it was about 3 nights ago when I was trying to decide what I was going to make for dinner, as I often do, and I'm sure many of you often do. And I was at the point where I didn't really want to put much effort into it, and I definitely didn't want to go to the grocery store. So I went to my pantry and saw a huge bag of Costco potatoes in there. Okay. Went to the freezer, found a pork loin, and also a Costco-sized bag of frozen peas. Easily make a supper out of that. But I wasn't that excited about it until I got to thinking about buttery, garlic mashed potatoes, which are probably one of my favorite side dishes. So that's where I put all my effort into making these mashed potatoes. I roasted 3 whole heads of garlic, boiled up 5 potatoes, and put probably a cup of butter and a cup of cream into those mashed potatoes. And they were amazing. My kids ate them. It was great. We had a great dinner. I was very, very happy. Head happy. Now, heart happiness, maybe something a little bit deeper, something that you need to think about. So 15 years ago, I was starting off in university, and a lot of my friends chose not to go to university right after high school. Brilliant decision, by the way. And so in my first year of university, a lot of those people were heading off on trips, and many of them went to Thailand. And I was very, very jealous. I wanted to go to Thailand so very badly, but I was on this strict 4-year track to get my degree. I put myself on that 4-year track. So I didn't have any money, and I didn't have the time for sure to go to Thailand. But I put it on my bucket list. 15 years later, I was actually able to make that trip. So I had set that goal and went on that trip. And it was a little bit different than it would have been when I was in my late teens, that's for sure, because I went with my partner and our 2 children, and our dear couple friends and their 2 children. But that trip was probably one of the best trips, if not the best trip I've ever taken in my life. I got to experience all these things with my family and my friends that I love so dearly. I mean, we were bathing elephants in the jungle. My 1.5-year-old boy was feeding elephants. It was crazy. And the best part of that trip was a massage that I had on the beach. Of course, a Thai massage. And it was heaven. So, so nice. And I can still remember about that trip and look back on the Facebook memories that come up on the videos of my kids, and I can get heart happy because I set that goal 15 years prior and then I attained it. But that's head happy and heart happy. And if we think about those two things, did they really actually make me happy? Potatoes are long gone. Yeah, I had a second helping and there were some leftovers, but they didn't last long. And I had to come home from my trip to Thailand. So did that actually make me happy? Well, that's where I want to talk about true happiness or soul happiness. So soul happiness is happiness from within and not from without. And what I mean by that is when you try to be happy from without, you're relying on experiences or goals to actually make you happy. And in order for experiences to become head happy, or goals or things that you set out to do to become heart happy, you need to be soul happy first to have that happiness from those experiences. So what I didn't tell you about those two kinds of happiness is my experience of head happy with potatoes is that I actually don't really like potatoes that much at all. So if I went into the pantry and I saw those huge bag, and you know the Costco sized bag of potatoes, I mean that lasts me like a year and a half. And if I went in there and just wished the whole time that I found a bag of crab legs or one of my favorite foods instead of those potatoes, would I have actually enjoyed those mashed potatoes? Would I have even thought to make delicious mashed potatoes? Or in the bigger picture, would I have enjoyed time with my family? I don't know. Or if I told you my favorite memory on that Thailand trip where I got the massage on the beach was actually under a covered gazebo because it was pouring rain. And it had been pouring rain for 5 days. 5 out of the 7 days of that trip that we were to spend on the beach. So when I pictured going to Thailand 15 years prior, I didn't expect monsoon, torrential downpour rain where the streets were flooding. I pictured my massage on the beach with the sun shining. But if all I would think about was that rain while I was getting a massage, I wouldn't have enjoyed it. I would have maybe not even enjoyed that part of the trip. So soul happiness allowed me to become happy with that head happy and heart happy experiences because I was enjoying the moment. I had gratitude for what I had at that point in time. So now, when I asked you previously what makes you happy, I want to know if you did flip that question a little bit and thought about things that would make you happy. Like winning the lottery, maybe eating that candy when I passed it out. I did probe you a little bit. Or if you thought about something that is just in your life, something you're grateful for, something not from without, but from within. So if you did choose to think about happiness as soul happy, I invite you to eat your candy. But if not, and you were thinking head happy or heart happy, happiness from without, please wait until you find your soul happiness to enjoy the little treat.
About Larin's speech for everybody who is a Toastmaster and our guest Stephen. This is her second speech. This is amazing. You Cooley commentators would notice that Larin gave a speech, no notes. Amazing for somebody who's doing that with their second speech. When you become a Toastmaster, you learn pretty quickly that in a 5 to 7 minute speech, you need an opening, you need a body, you need a conclusion, and somewhere along in there, you've got to have 3 points. Well, did we have 3 points today? Yes, 3 types of happiness. Did we have an opening and a conclusion? Yes, we did. So you've got some of the basics down, and you've got them down well. Now, my objective as the evaluator today is to give you a couple of things that you've done well, and I've told you about them. So keep doing those things that you're doing well. Now, for your next speech, you're supposed to get a couple of tips that you could practice on for your next speech. So why am I glad that you're in our club? Because you have one of the diseases that I have, and that is extraneous energy when you're talking. Hands go this way, that way, pirouetting, all sorts of movement. So one of the things about movement going forward is try to have some purposeful movement. we have some good models in this club of people who can stand like this, give a speech, not move, and do things that I can't do. And you and I can learn from those kinds of people. You had an opening and you had a conclusion. Your opening was good because you had that prop and you went around. But in future, maybe not try to have your back to the audience. That always detracts a bit from the speaker. But your opening was, so yes. No, so yes. Next speech. Practice your opening as much as you practice everything in your speech. In fact, practice the opening. Have something dramatic. Take that nervous energy that you have with all that motion and just do something that launches into the speech with drama. And your conclusion was a little soft. So I have something really sensational to conclude with at the end. But let's put everything in focus here. Second speech, no notes, content great, speech construction evident throughout, amazing. And I'm ever glad you're in our club.